Keeping lint from backing up in your dryer is an important step to take to prevent lint from combusting and burning down your house. So if the cartridge is damaged, like in my case, it's important to replace it as soon as possible. In order to get a replacement as soon as possible, of course, I turned to Amazon and ordered two variations. One, I ordered the generic, and two, I ordered the OEM. The generic is made in China, and the OEM is made in South Korea. The generic ships in this cardboard box, which keeps it protected. And unfortunately, in my case, the OEM version, which is more expensive, shipped in a little plastic Ziploc bag and a paper wrap. So now looking at the differences between the two, from afar, they are very similar. The plastic in the generic one is a glossy plastic, and the original matches the original, obviously. But as far as everything you would expect, it's here. But when you start looking closer, you'll see like the screen itself, this is very wavy, and this is just like the original. And really, until you open it up, there's not much of a visual indication that this is a generic. But the original actually has some writing on the inside that says what the part number is and what this is. And on the generic, that is missing. Now the concerning part for me is you'll notice that in the original here, there's a very little gap here, which I guess is why eventually the lint just exploded through the screen itself. On the generic, there seems to be quite a large gap, and even on the OEM, there's a little bit of a gap, but it's not as bad as the generic. Like, I press this together and it just doesn't want to stay together. It always has this large opening on both sides. On the new OEM model, on both sides, it's fairly small. I can deal with that. And maybe over time as this heats up, maybe the gaps in all cases will decrease to be more like this one that is used. But there's another concerning issue here. So now let's head over back to the dryer. So this is the original back in place, and you'll notice on the edges here, there's a small gap, but it's not very noticeable. For the most part, it's smooth. I have no concern about clothes getting caught on this and getting destroyed. And now switching to the OEM replacement. The gap is a little bit larger than the original, but it's still fairly good. Now check out the generic. I'm pressing hard, so it's all the way in, but these gaps are very large and very sharp. So the concern here is as things are going around in your dryer, maybe something gets caught on that and gets destroyed. When you close the door, this does get covered a bit. But the sharpness is a concern all the way around. So in this case, I would consider going with the OEM over the generic.